Sean Meyers joined by Adrian Batts, the head coach of the Jeannette boys basketball team, as they enter the 2A playoffs. And another good regular season for Jeannette. And Adrian, congrats on making the postseason. I know that's always an accomplishment in itself. When you think of this year's team, what are some of the strengths that come to mind?
Yes, definitely. Definitely. I thought the guys being as young as they were, they never let that be a problem for them. We did what we wanted to do. One of our goals was to make the playoffs. Obviously, we had a goal to win this section, but that didn't happen. But we finished second to, who I thought was one of the best teams in our area, any classification. So nothing to hold our head against.
You talk about the young team, and one of those young guys is sophomore Kamani Brown. Yeah. He was good as a freshman. I thought he took his game to an even higher level this year. When you think of his evolution and maturation, what really stands out about him?
Well, he's become a leader for us, and he's accepted that role as being a leader, even though we have a couple seniors on the floor. He's a point guard. It seems everybody gravitates to him, and he's really thrived in big games. He hasn't run away from the I don't want to say star label, but he being that leader and taking it to the next level. He hasn't run away from that hype. So really proud of him. But we played Monessen on Monday, and he might have sustained an injury that might hold him out the first round game. So keeping our fingers crossed that he's able to play. We need him.
Well, another guy that I know you're going to lean upon is Isaiah Malik, a senior who's kind of been through some of the wars before. When you get to the postseason, how much more do you count on the guys who have experienced it before, who are the upperclassmen that kind of know what to expect?
Oh, I mean, it's big having those guys. They know what it takes. They, to practice. There's so many days off in between your last game and your first playoff game. If you're, depending on how you're seated, and fortunately, we've been seated pretty high the past couple years, and those guys, they could talk to the youngsters and let them know about what it takes to be prepared, and with your mind, and you kind of rest some days, but it's got to be a grind. And that first game, it'll be a shock to all of our guys that haven't been there, because it's one and done. There's no Tuesday, you lose and you play Friday. You got to win. So those guys are going to be big for us, and understanding. And, some of our youngsters are they're prepared for it. I mean, they were in the playoffs for football, so they understand, what it takes with those days being off.
So you finished second in the section behind only Greensburg Central Catholic. You end up getting the number 6 seed in the bracket in a matchup against number 11 Sewickley Academy. How did that align with what your expectations were in terms of the bracket heading in?
Well, obviously, we always want to be one of the top. Going into it with a 9-3 record, I thought that we would be anywhere from 5 to 7. Our section is really good. I mean, obviously with GCC and Sarah Catholic, and at one time, Claret was 5-0. So some things changed for them. So I'm happy with it. We played Sarah on a Saturday afternoon, and we had an opportunity to beat them. We ended up losing by 2 possessions. And I think if we would have got that, I think there would have been a chance. It would really clogged some things out. I think we would have been 5. Or possibly 4. I think 4 Cherry. I think they're 4. Is that correct? Or are they 3? They're 4.
4 Cherry is 4.
So I think we could have possibly gotten there, but 5 or 6 is okay. Our side of bracket is going to be tough. We happen to win, and Northgate wins. We play them, and the winner of that game gets GCC. So, it's you'll have to play somebody good eventually to get to where you want to get to, which is the championship. So, I like where we're at, and playing 11th seed is, it's just all numbers. I mean, anybody can beat anybody in that first round. Just things could happen. So, I like where we're at, and I'm happy that we got a home game in front of our crowd, and I think it'll be pretty electric sight for us Tuesday.
I know Sewickley Academy is a program that's had a lot of success. I've covered them up in Hershey in a state championship win before. However, the first name that comes to mind is Win Palmer, and unfortunately, he passed away. I'm sure you have some memories of him, not just with basketball, but he was just Sewickley Academy, everything. Anything that comes to mind when you think of the great legacy for Win?
Yeah, one thing comes, they beat us, Sway Redmond senior year on the tip in the semifinals to go to the WPIAL championship at Shore Valley, a game that we were winning. And they just, they always had guys that could shoot the ball, and they found a way to get back into the game. And Win was just not only a great coach, but what a great person, a great friend. It was really heartbreaking to hear when I found out he passed, because even in all those games that we played, we had some classic games with him in the past. He was always a gentleman. And I take that as something that meant a lot to me. He would call me for advice. Here's a guy that won probably 500-600 games, when he coached in Virginia and even in the WPL. He called me, and, I built a friendship with him. So that, I miss him, and it's going to be a little different.
Well, lastly, let's look at this year's matchup. I know Sewickley Academy, obviously, we mentioned the history, but they're the 11th seed. You're the 6th seed. What are the biggest keys to have success against them?
Well, I watched their games. They're actually kind of the same team. I mean, they're young. I mean, I think they have 2 seniors, 3 maybe. They start a freshman point guard. I just think we have to really speed them up and make them play. And they're going to compete because they have basketball kids. And it's not going to be easy. If we don't play our game, I mean, there's a chance they could beat us. But if we play and come and defend like we've been all year, I think we got a great opportunity to win the game. We got to rebound the ball and make layups and free throws. And I know it sounds like coach talk, but in the playoffs, there's not very many possessions. And for some kids, that hoop kind of shrinks, knowing that it's a one and done playoff. So we gotta do all the little things to win games. We got to take some charges. We got to win the free throw battle, and we can't miss easy layups, things of that nature, or it'll be a long game for us on our floor.
Well, Adrian, we appreciate you taking the time. Once again, congrats on getting to the playoffs, and hopefully you can make a run now that you are in the postseason.
I appreciate it, man. Hope we can too. Thank you so much for having me. Take care.